Sign up today for a 7-day free trial at alerts.chartguys.com. Everyone checking back in on the cryptocurrency sector. Bears still have control as we are fading on Bitcoin. I personally have been trading commodities the last couple weeks as that's where the volatility is at. Certainly not a lot of volatility in cryptocurrencies right now, but keeping an eye on things. So we have our recent low of 9,300. We came up and hit the high of 10,900s. And now we're coming back down and we're looking for a higher low compared to 9,300. But due to the size of the pullback at this point, we've now pulled back more than 50% of the move on the way up. So if we do form a daily higher low, I would anticipate that we can trade within this daily range for another week even. So not anticipating that volatility to pick up in the near term, but perhaps when we break this daily range, that's when we'll look for it to happen. So the 4-hour time frame has not been able to change the trend yet. You could call this a break of 10,124 if it happens. As a 4-hour trend change, that's a little low. High of the bounce, higher low, and trying for that higher high. I want to see a change of the 4-hour trend and a move over the 4-hour exponential resistances, which continue to reject the price. So Bitcoin is trying to shift for the daily higher low. If we do, we'll look for a bounce and we'll look for a lower high compared to 10,900 and to stay in this tightening range. And this is going to be a rough drawing, but looking for something along these lines into next week. So we have a bit of a shift going on as far as Bitcoin pairings. Let's look at the US dollar pairing first on Ethereum. It's a red flag at this point. It's a weekly bear flag. Absolutely. The burden of proof is on the bulls to prove to us that this is not a weekly bear flag. And looking at the daily time frame, what makes it a potential weekly bear flag? It's the daily trend change and the lack of follow through. We broke resistance, which was 183.15, and we only got $2.85 higher, pretty much 1% higher, and now we're pulling back. So we still have a little daily higher low pattern, but it's very unconvincing. For the bulls to prove it to us, we would pretty much have to see another daily higher low form and then break 190. And then I'll say, okay, the weekly bear flag is less likely, but if that does not happen, the bear flag is likely. The Bitcoin pairing is topping out. We had a great 4-day bull move, but we have not changed the daily trend. This move is coming straight off that low. So we have our low, our last daily lower high was up here at 1808. Just a daily lower high, rejecting from 18. And if we break the low of today, tomorrow, we have to form a daily higher low compared to 1614. So the daily trend change is absolutely still a possibility, but we have to pull back and form that higher low first. And then if we get that trend change from there, it'll be notable and we'll be paying attention much more to Ethereum and Litecoin. But at this point, that's not the case. Litecoin. I'm on the verge of getting stopped out of Litecoin, and I did have a stop loss that I pulled just because the 15-minute RSI was too beat up for me to want to get stopped out down there. And because it's a smaller position, I can have that kind of wiggle room to play around with my position and move things, because a dollar here or there on the price of Litecoin, a percent up or down, isn't going to be a significant difference. With the size of my position right now, a dollar pretty much requires a $2 move on Litecoin to be what I call a day maker or a day loser. And trading natural gas today, I have a multiple day maker, so I'm not really concerned about a dollar here or there on Litecoin. The bottom line is I'm close to bailing on Litecoin for the reason being the daily trend change with a lack of follow through. If we break 67.80, we're looking back down at 63.87, and that would be a red flag. It would be a daily trend change with no follow through. The weekly time frame is the same exact scenario as Ethereum. It's a bear flag right now, and the bulls have to prove to us that it is not a bear flag. And to do so, we pretty much need to hold 67.80 and break 73.24 and see follow through. The LTC BTC pairing is topping out. We've seen a higher low now 6 days in a row. If that changes today or tomorrow, we look for the pullback for a higher low compared to 6097, and then the bulls must change the daily trend and see a bull cross of these exponential moving averages for the first time in multiple months. So daily trend change needed on these Bitcoin pairings to try and save the US dollar pairings from being bear flags. XRP, equilibrium pattern, heading down towards support. So there's a bottom fishing play on XRP approaching. We've got our low, high of the bounce, higher low, double top. Bulls must hold 2475 and potential bottom fishing play with the recent lows here to look for a daily high or low and then hope that we break bullish. But odds of getting stopped out are fairly high. It's just low risk the closer we get to that support level. So still in the tightening daily range, but bulls have to show up and change that 4-hour trend to remain in this tightening daily range for at least another few days. Binance is close to a bear break, rejecting from daily exponential resistance. Again, we highlighted the daily trend change with no follow through, which is a red flag, and the weekly time frame, while it's not a bear flag, you could play around with the time frames and find a bear flag. Here's the 3-day chart. That's a bear flag. 2088 is our low, and it looks like we did just break that. So a bear break to a lower low. Our new most important daily resistance going forward is 2352. We do have US customers leaving Binance. That's priced in at this point, in my opinion, because it's a very well-known event for quite some time now. 1830 is support from here, and there is no sign of a shift in momentum, and the daily exponential resistance has now rejected pretty much 3 bounce attempts in a row, so that's going to be a visual guide for us on any future bounce attempts. Close to being back to daily oversold, weekly RSI not close to oversold at this point, keeping in mind that we are scouting a monthly high or low, but there's no indication that a monthly high or low is forming yet, and 1990 is where our exponential support is. We'll see if that comes into play. The one good thing is declining bear volume on this pullback. Increasing bull volume on the way up, declining bear volume on the way down. Definitely worth patiently scouting for a monthly high or low to form. And that's what we're doing on Litecoin and Ethereum. We're patiently scouting for monthly higher lows to form on those names. EOS, healthy daily consolidation currently underway. So we had a big bull move, low bear volume pullback. Bulls ideally want to hold the exponential moving averages to keep the potential bull flag alive. If we lose those exponential moving averages, then we'll be looking at an equilibrium. So again, when we're looking at consolidation, what we're looking for is clues. Is it a continuation pattern, or is the pullback going to be more significant, and is it going to be more of an equilibrium pattern? And right now, there's still the potential of that continuation pattern, and bulls would love to see an hourly and 4-hour trend change. If we can cross these bull hourly exponential moving averages, the 12 and the 26, that will increase the odds that our daily high or low has been established. So keeping an eye on EOS. So that's what we're watching overall. Bitcoin bulls have to change the 4-hour trend. They've been struggling to do so. 4-hour exponential resistance on watch. ETH and Litecoin Bitcoin pairings may need to form daily higher lows here. They're looking a little bit toppy. And the USD pairings have to be very cautious of the potential weekly bear flags. So there's where we stand. I appreciate you watching. Quickie check-in. Again, not a ton going on in this space. People talking about alt season. I will not say a word about alt season unless we see clear weekly trend changes, because if we're not changing weekly trends, we're just looking for weekly lower highs on a lot of these names. And sure, we could see some nice bounces, but if it's just looking for a weekly lower high, we continue the longer term downtrends. And I personally don't foresee anything like 2017 ever happening again in the alt space. And we'll see. That's definitely a speculation guess. But from my experience of watching other hype markets and the other same thing with altcoins in the form of small low cap companies, they just die out. So it's going to remain interesting, but Bitcoin, wouldn't be surprised to see it trade within this range, 93 to 10,009 for another week plus. Appreciate you watching. Do good things out there. We'll check back in next time. We've got something to talk about that's different, and we'll see you then.